Sorry for that. I apologize, Kales. I had too many meetings at once.
Next week at 6:30 on Thursday will be the lip sync performances. So if you're interested in coming to that, tickets will go on sale Monday. And then the in-school performance will be around 1 o'clock on the next day. Semester 2 classes have started up and they're going fairly well. Thank you to everybody who's made this transition from semester 1 to semester 2 possible. Students have started looking at choosing classes for next year. They're working with guidance counselors to create a schedule that works for them. So right now we've gone through most of the junior class as they prepare. And then the Laker Bots will be at the Lakes Region Robotics over February break. It's a full-size practice field that we've teamed up with another team to create and let all the teams in New Hampshire use if they so choose. We'll be there for the second half of February break as we prepare for our first competition on March 6th.
Excellent. You are busy people. That's great. Thank you, Caleb. Okay, so next we're going to go through the different articles. What I'd like to do just procedurally, I'll read the article first, and then I'd like a motion and a second to approve it, and then that will put it in play for any further discussion. If somebody wants to make an amendment to the article, you can propose one, but we will vote on the amendment first, and then if it passes, we will incorporate it into the final article. If it doesn't, it'll go back to the original article for a vote. Is everyone good with that? Mm-hmm. And then the other thing has to do, and Siobhan, I may have misspoken to you when we talked about this. Typically, when we vote on these, we can do it two ways. We can either just have a simple yes or no, approved by a majority, or don't recommend. Or we can do an actual number vote. So say 5 for, 2 against. Is there a preference? I'm asking all board members. You too, Jim.
I think I prefer the accurate count.
Okay. Nancy, you good with that?
Yeah.
Jim, are you good with that? So it would be the actual proposed.
Yep, I'm good with that. Yep.
All right, so some of these are pretty straightforward, like Article 1. To see the action the district will vote relative to the reports of agents, committees, or officers chosen.
So make a motion to accept the article as written.
Thank you. Thank you. A second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So that's unanimous.
That's unanimous.
So 6-0.
6-0. Oh, yes, and the aide Garen is absent with notice. Article 2, to see if the district will set the salaries of district officers for the coming year as follows. Moderator $100, district clerk $20 an hour, school board chairperson $1,800, school board members each $1,500, district treasurer $1,500.
Is presented.
I'll second.
Moved in second. Is there any discussion on this one?
Is this any change from previous, and if no, how long has it been flat?
And there is no change, and I would say sometime, it's a long time. Yeah.
Good. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Unanimous, 6-0.
Unanimous for Article 2. Article 3, I will remind folks that we actually have already voted on this once. It was back this fall. To see if the district will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Interlinks Cooperative School District and the Interlinks Education Association. It calls for the following increase in salaries and benefits at the current staffing level. Estimated increase year 26-27. $458,794, and further to raise and appropriate $458,794 for the 26-27 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional cost attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at current staffing levels.
Just presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion on this one? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
6-0 on Article 3. Article 4 is the backup article to Article 3. To see if the district, if warrant Article 3 is defeated, will authorize the governing body to call one special meeting at its option to address warrant Article 3 cost items only.
Moved as presented.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
6-0.
6-0. Next one up is Article 5, the budget, operating budget. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the amount of $37,295,119, the support of schools, for the payment of salaries for the school district officials and agents, and for the payment of statutory obligations of the district. This article excludes special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately.
As presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this one?
There was I didn't catch her name, but at the public hearing, there's a member of the public that asked if any consideration had been given to further increasing the operational budget with a specific eye towards increasing the curriculum development budget. Mary, can you speak to that?
So we have obviously budgeted for a new math curriculum. And in addition, there's funds supporting some behavior consultants to support classroom management and addressing needs at ILES. There's also other funding that supports our ongoing courses that we offer for folks to take graduate level courses. I think realistically, I think we have, an ample amount budgeted, and there does come a time, like there's so much time that we have in a year to accomplish. And I think we have our priorities set, and I think we've budgeted for those.
And those are current, those items which you have just discussed are already captured in the current proposed budget.
Correct.
So to answer that member of public's question, no additional, since the public hearing, there has been no additional consideration given to increasing the budget with an eye towards increasing curriculum because of the reasons you have just listed.
Correct.
And I'm putting words in your mouth, and I
Yeah.
acknowledge that. I just want to make sure
Yeah,
that
I think we have budgeted, we've planned for professional learning to continue to grow, including the math curriculum, which will be evidence-based and training to support that. And I think we're at the amounts that we can handle,
we're not
given a
biting off
school.
more than we can chew.
Correct. Right, there's just a finite amount of time.
There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
So I had a question from, if you just state your name, where you're from.
Cindy Credo, Dale Road, Meredith. I'm going to reiterate what I said at the meeting the other night. I think it's important for everybody to hear it as many times as they can, is Meredith being one of the higher ends per pupil costs. And a lot of that has to do with, unfortunately, the way that we're structured statewide in the state of New Hampshire as far as public education. And at some point, something needs to be done about that. But I think paying $39,000 and change per pupil for 896 students is just bleeding a lot of people in the town. And at some point, we have to stop because our test scores it doesn't show, we keep throwing money at things, but nothing changes. The education system just isn't changing. No Child Left Behind at one point, great philosophical, but unless you have an IEP for every student, we can't keep teaching to tests. So I'm just kind of voicing frustration more than anything, and I want people to be aware that Meredith spends a lot of money per pupil, and we are a donor town.
Yeah.
But not everyone in this town.
So, ma'am,
So I'm making a comment on that one. I have questions on other articles, but this is more, I just want people in the town of Meredith to realize how much is being spent per pupil and things don't change. And hopefully the state will change how we fund education.
so I would just mention again, just to be clear, tonight's purpose is what we're gonna put on the warrant. We aren't making a final decision. That's up to the voters to do.
I
And
understand.
that would be the sort of comment that would probably be best to give to the voters. Because I totally understand what you're saying.
Thank you.
Can I just make a,
Yes,
so the statewide education property tax actually stays local. That money does not, it stays local to offset your local taxes. So the donor town, there was a point that some districts were collecting more money and sending it to the state to offset other towns. It's used to offset the taxes here.
Oh, I thought at the meeting you had stated that we are a donor town and that we don't get any money from the
We
state.
don't get one.
I think, yes, we don't get adequacy from the state. There are other funds that the state has that they distribute to communities, but because of the valuation for the
Assessments.
properties, we don't get that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry for any confusion.
board members, any other questions or comments? Do we have a motion in a second? We did, didn't we?
Yes.
Mr. DeMark,
Richard
State-
DeMark,
Thank you.
Chase Road, Meredith. I apologize for not being at previous hearings. I don't know the percent increase of this particular budget. What I'm curious about is whether this budget reflects a decrease in any revenues coming from the state or federal sources. And so essentially, state and federal passing on costs to the local level.
So I just want to pull up our revenue sheet. So we're actually not proposing any adjustments to Medicaid, which is something that we receive. We've increased special education aid by 300,000, and that's driven by our student population and hitting certain thresholds. So at this point, because we do not get any state adequacy, we're not feeling that impact. I know other communities have based on some changes. And from a federal entitlement grant funds at this point, we are kind of operating under the assumption that the status quo will be in place.
Thank you.
okay, Nancy?
Yes.
I believe, however, that there are other state decisions that impact property tax increases that do have to do with the schools, that don't involve the adequacy payments or the specific special ed things. There are a couple of organizations that do a lot of research on this, and I don't want to mention what they are, but I would encourage people if they're interested. There's one called School Funding Fairness Project. There's another one called Reaching Higher New Hampshire. This has been an issue on votes in the legislature recently. So I would encourage people to look into that too, because the impact isn't just the school budget. It's also changes in other kinds of taxes from the state, the business tax and there's some that also impact property tax increases that have to do with what we're all feeling at the moment.
So, our business tonight is to get these warrant articles finalized and put on the warrant. No, it's fine. I just want to remind folks, this isn't the place for,
Discussion.
we're just trying to get these articles done. So is there any other questions on the budget for the board?
Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 6-0 unanimous. I will draw something to people's attention on Article 6, which is about the lights on the athletic field. The number of $181,920 has come up. That has been updated as of today.
Cash came in today.
Cash came in today. And also to let you know that cash continues to come in for this warrant article. So, and we'll talk about this, Jim, but it will not be surprising if this is amended again on the floor at the district meeting to bring that number up to the most current value. But for tonight, to see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the amount of $359,000 for field lighting on the Charles G. Burroughs Memorial Athletic Field, aka Turf Field, with $181,920 to come from donated funds already received for the project, and the rest to come from taxation.
Moved as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead,
Should
Bruce.
we amend the number right now?
No.
Okay,
This was amended last week.
okay.
Excuse me, the Google Meet just started, so can someone do a recap of the meeting so far?
It might be best, there's a way to do that.
So there was, I don't know what, do you mind if, may I speak?
Please do.
I don't know what happened with the original meeting link, but while we had a waiting room while you guys were in non-public, people were not able to get in. So I just deleted that old meeting link, created a whole new one to get us up and running, but it took until now for a few members of the public to be able to get in.
So I'll give you the abbreviated version. We have got Caleb's update. We've been voting on the warrant articles. We're up to item F on the agenda, which is the field lights article. And it is been moved and seconded, and we are taking questions from the board and getting ready to vote.
Just the question I had is on page 8 of tonight's agenda, I think we're just going to be asked to approve the new number. And I was just wondering if it would be at all possible to have the new number in. It'll help in our fundraising efforts and in talking to people when they read this in the public, if they see the new number, the 198 number versus the 180.
I think that still includes pledges that we haven't received yet. So the number that's in the warrant is actually,
So I'm sorry, with the Meet problems, are you on warrant Article 6, Agenda F now?
Yes, correct.
And what were the votes so far?
They have not voted yet. We have not voted.
Oh, on the previous ones.
Oh, on the previous ones? They all passed 6-0.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And what did you do for the public comment section? Is that
Brian,
open later?
Wait 1 second. Yes, public comment is open, but I've got other people that are already talking. Bruce, go ahead, please.
I think that I am satisfied. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Brian, what else do you have?
Under public comment, I had sent a question comment into the email address that was provided, so I'd like that to be read and discussed.
Sure. Go ahead, Mr. Parsons.
All right. So this is from Brian Harris, Meredith. Thank you for everything you do for the Interlakes community. Much appreciated. Interlakes has among the highest cost per pupil in the state, yet student performance is about average. While there is certainly many complex factors involved, my question is, what 3 specific actions can the school board take to realign cost and performance? Thank you, Brian Harris, Meredith.
Good question. Anybody want to take a stab at that? I think there's multiple things. I think it would take more than just entering on the screen, quite honestly. But
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
it's not an answer, but it's a response.
sure.
So I think the purpose of our meeting here this evening is to approve or deny the wording of the articles as they are currently presented in preparation for the 4 March open public meeting. While Mr. Harris's question is certainly valid and should be discussed, I do not think that it is appropriate the purpose of this particular meeting.
I think that's a great.
And thus,
point.
I would like to table that, invite Mr. Harris to any of the strategy sessions that are being held as we build a 5-year long-term plan, because the question that he has made is not one that is going to be solved within 1 budget year. It's certainly part of the overall long-term plan discussion, and certainly is more of a working group problem-solving type discussion than what we are here tonight to accomplish.
Thank you. Thanks, Ed.
I can't tell who is speaking, but the agenda for this meeting under agenda item number 5A is public comment. So that's my comment. If the board would like to respond, or if the board's response is no response, then that can be entered into the meeting minutes.
Yeah, so I guess the response distilled down is that's a worthy thing to talk about, but not at this meeting, because we have a specific purpose at this meeting. But if you would like to come to any of our strategic planning meetings, that would probably be the best venue to discuss that out. Is that accurate?
That is my,
When and where would you like to cover that, the board's response to that question?
April, we will have, like we had last year, we went to each community and had a strategic meeting, talking to the community about where we are as a school district, where people want to, see us in the next 5 years. So we'll be reporting out some goals and work that we've been working on this year.
Thank you, Mary. My question is directed to the school board.
So I think, that, again, like I said, it's coming up at this, the place to ask that question and to discuss it would be the strategic planning sessions that are upcoming in April.
Mr. Lockett is raising his hand.
And Mr. Locke, go ahead.
Yeah, Charlie, I mean, I'm in support of that. And then, just for Brian's spot here, just right, our local property taxes fund a ton of our school in New Hampshire to the tune of over 70%. And I think what we've done, looking at, transportation, right sizing our school staff, we've done that. And I think our board is doing that today with Mary's support. And I feel like we're in a good spot. So those are the things we're looking at. And, I feel like we've done all that as we went into this budget session. So that's just my comment, directly answering.
Thank you, Jim. Go ahead, Nancy.
Yes, the school board did see a video that was produced by teachers and principals and students in the schools that talked about the curriculum and particularly testing and how they're working on that. And that might be, I think that might be on the website.
They're available for folks if you go to the curriculum page and you go to the community area, they're at the top of the page. And we did push that out to folks that are on ParentSquare. If you're not on ParentSquare and would like to be, if you're a community member, if you can just even write me your email, make sure we get contact to you so we can get you set up for that. That helps us just we push out every agenda for the school board goes out to the community that's on ParentSquare, as well as all parents in the school district.
Or on the school webpage under Family and Community Resources, there's a link right here to join our community groups. You do it there
Thank
as
you,
well.
Mr. Parsons.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I need one success tonight.
You have many.
Okay, you got that?
Manger, Village Drive, Meredith. So if people ask this question at the school meeting, what will the response be? Will it be the same response that we have right here?
Regarding the overall,
regarding, Mr. Harris's question.
I would say so, yes.
Okay,
When you say the school meeting, do you mean the district meeting and?
yeah, that we're gonna vote on for March 4th.
So we have the lights article in front of us.
There's another.
Oh, we have one more question.
Yeah, on the lighting, I'm gonna ask if the school board would vote this down, and this is why. The lighting is great that parents and coaches and kids are raising money, which is how it should be. Was the original intent to raise all these funds privately? Was that the original intent?
Correct.
Okay, so is it a need? Because the school budget should be about needs, not necessarily wants. It'd be great in a fabulous way that we could all afford to do this, but the lights are not a need. And I think that, is the football team the only team that uses the lights?
No,
And-
it's not just football.
It's not just football.
One second.
And so and these games can't be played during the day without lights.
So, ma'am, you're getting into the point that should be discussed at the 4th.
Yeah.
We're looking to either
Well, I'm
finalize this.
asking you to not support it for these reasons. You had brought up at the last meeting, Ms. Moriarty, that there was a connection between kids playing later in the day and being more, they could do more curriculum if they could push the sports out. But do you have an actual record of proof that this is occurring?
We do have, we do have times that we need to dismiss students early from classes, particularly as, seasons, daylight gets less. We have to try to fit things in the best that we can. Lights certainly provides you greater options to be able to do that. Certainly practices start to diminish in terms of the length of time we have for teaching for the practices, because daylight is closing out.
Ed?
Mr. Chairman, perhaps I'm confused. Again, my understanding is that we are here to approve the wording of these articles, not to actually pass them into existence or not. It is the public from the 3 towns that make up the district that will actually vote aye or nay on whether these articles are to become a thing. We are simply here to say, I want to change happy to glad, or I want to change this number to a larger number or a smaller number. Is that correct?
Also voting on the appropriation. Whether or not you support the appropriation.
Which we have.
Yes.
We've already
Yeah.
We've
voted.
already covered, which we have already covered.
Correct.
Okay, so if we say, if when we get to vote on this, when we arrive at the time to vote on this article, if the board says nay, then the article will have to be rewritten. Is that correct?
No, it's just whether we support it or not. If we all vote no, and the public at the 4th annual meeting says yay, it is.
So
That's
it
what it
is.
But if you say yes, a lot of people just look at what the recommendation is for the school board. If you don't support this, then voters are more likely probably not to support it. Because
Well-
it's not a need in the school. The lights are not a need.
It's a misunderstanding.
Well, historically, that happens.
No, but I'm sorry, I just said that out loud, didn't mean to, but what we're doing is saying, we think this article should go before the public. That's all a yes means on this.
Really?
No,
No,
that's not how I.
I don't think that's the
That's
case at
right.
all.
No, I mean, these articles are
These
gonna go as
articles-
presented, but we are defining, as we do in each of these, that we're supporting the budget as we put forward.
Right, so if you.
I think we absolutely owe to the community to express our support or lack of support for each of these, whether they go forward or not. I mean, we see that in town meetings, we see that in previous district meetings.
So,
Jim Walkus.
Jim, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I think Ed was kind of saying it, but I would say in this case, right, the warrant article went forward because folks in the town got 25 signatures to get it moved forward. So the person that streamlined that is probably sitting in the room, and if wants to chat about the process and how many people signed that are supporting this in the community, I think we should just give that opportunity now to hear from that person or that group, right? There was a number to the tune of, I think, over, well, in the hundreds.
Articles, Jim.
Right?
Yeah, now, this was an article that we said we would put on
Yeah.
for the Grandparents Club, because the grandparents had worked to raise money for this, that originally we told them we would not put any money into it. And then they hit some headwinds, and we said, okay, the only way we would do this is if we could take it to the public and let
Yeah.
them decide.
But they got a tremendous amount of community support and signatures, I think, just to, so we should just let them speak on behalf of some of that as well. And then we'll all be able to vote, and we'll see who's supportive of it or not.
Our point tonight is whether we're gonna put this on or not.
Mhm.
We're putting it on, it's a matter of the final wording or any changes. This is an article we can change.
Okay.
I would share my perspective, and I appreciate that it may differ from others on the board. I have supported this article going to the voters. I have supported that for months, and I think it is appropriate that this go to the voters. That does not mean that I support this warrant as it's written. I will share now, I will not be voting to support this. I share other, residents of our community's concern about wants and needs. That did not change the fact that previously I supported putting this to the voters. I am entirely in favor of this warrant moving forward. That doesn't mean I support the warrant.
That's what I thought I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense, Duncan. Thank you.
And I think we can all make our case for and against at the district meeting, where the citizens and the residents of our communities, the registered voters of our communities will vote on this. And I think that's the appropriate venue for sharing your concerns and your support. And I think that that's a simple matter. We can move forward.
And we would,
Okay.
all of those points of view will be heard at that meeting, I'm quite sure, so.
I would think so. So we ready
Mr.
to,
Parsons.
I don't know if it's appropriate. Mr. Harris has a question. He's raising his hand.
okay,
I don't know.
sure.
My understanding, team, my understanding of the law is that the warrant article goes. It was properly presented by the correct number of people, and it's on the warrant. That's not the question to the board. The question of the board is, does the board recommend voters approve or not approve the article?
That's
That's how I understand
that's what we're getting ready to vote on.
Okay.
Mr. Jones, last one.
Subtle point is this is not a petition that was signed by voters. This was the board's petition.
Correct.
It was a warrant that was from the board.
Yeah.
A petition is a different
Right.
process.
This is not a petition.
Correct.
This is a warrant.
And we have supported moving this to the district meeting.
And we thank you very much.
Correct. So Jim, are we ready to vote?
I just want to say very briefly, if I may, that I agree that there is, whether or not it's misunderstanding that whether or not the board recommends or doesn't recommend something, people do register that as a recommendation or not. And so I'm, in that spirit, we'll be voting on this in this moment, knowing that.
We have one more question.
You have one from Jen Carter.
Go ahead.
I did. Thank you very much, Jennifer Curran, Meredith. My question was just about the chat. I didn't know if that was being monitored during this or if those questions would be circled back to later.
So we utilize, we will certainly look at the chat to see if there's questions, but comments remotely are done through, what is the email address?
Comments@interlakes.org.
Comments@interlakes.org.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
As that I thought maybe Mr. Harris asked, if you don't mind me reading, is when is the next strategic planning meeting? Sounds like you're suggesting that this is the better venue.
Correct. And
So-
it's in April.
So April. So I think that was the question she was referring to.
Okay. So I think we're finally at the point where we can vote. So for Article 6, the lighting, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
2, 3.
Aye.
Jim?
Yep, I'm in favor.
4 ayes.
Yeah. All those opposed?
So
Put your hand down.
I-
Charlie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
you're really mixing. And two opposed. Okay. So there's a majority.
I think I abstained.
Oh, you
Aren't
say,
there seven
say it.
of
I
us?
didn't hear.
No,
No, there's
There's
six.
6 of
Six of
us.
us, okay.
So you're
Are
abstaining.
you a no or an abstention?
I think I will vote no for it, like
Okay.
Duncan will, so I want it to move
So it's
forward. but I won't.
3-3.
So we're tied.
So it's 3-3. I just want to clarify.
Okay, yeah. 3-3.
Okay.
3-3. All right. Letter G, warrant Article 7. Shall the Interlake School District vote to adopt the provisions of New Hampshire RSA Chapter 194-D and become an open enrollment school district under the terms of the RSA, and to admit one student outside the Interlake School District, and to establish that 0% of the resident student population are eligible to seek open enrollment outside of the district.
Moved as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, I'm
sorry,
Public
Mr.
comment.
Chairman, as a point of clarification, this article does not affect a parent's ability to send their student to another district and pay tuition. Is
Correct.
that?
Correct. Correct, but they would be assuming that
They would be
responsibility.
assuming that responsibility. Further, it does not affect the provisions, agreements, whatever it may be, under the CBA that allow
Correct,
faculty and staff to bring their children
Correct.
from outside of the district.
correct. Or our agreement with Mulboro.
Or our letters of
memorandum of
agreement,
understanding.
whatever with those, this is,
Correct.
so those things are all
This is
still
specific to
in
open
place.
enrollment.
There was a question. It looks like it has.
It's gone away.
The hand's gone down.
Vote.
There's a question of
Brian Hall and Meredith, I'm just trying to understand, so this is saying that basically they'll admit one individual into the Meredith school system.
through the open enrollment process. So open enrollment is an RSA that governs it. And so if one student comes in through the open enrollment, then their home district would receive a bill that is 80% of whatever the home district's tuition is. It does not mean that others couldn't apply. Sometimes families might make a request to have a non-resident admission, and that would be outside of open enrollment, so that's still a possibility. But this would limit at least the financial impact on surrounding towns in our area.
Okay, seems like a small number.
We have one question, Mr.
Sandemersky.
You're on mute.
Hear me?
We can now, go ahead.
Sorry, I think this question was asked earlier, but I'd like to ask again. Is public comment through for the evening, or is there an opportunity still going to be for a public comment?
No, it's gonna be till the end, be through to the end. But the way things are going, I may end it just until people get to the very end. So,
I would like to make a public comment, but I'm happy to wait till they're in order.
great, thank you, Greg.
And it looks like Mr. Harris has a question. I'm not sure if it pertains to this particular vote.
Yes, with respect to open enrollment, could you share your thinking about the limitation of one inbound student? This seems like a excellent revenue potential source for us. that if we accepted many, many more inbound students, we would not have to increase staff or building, but we would receive tens of thousands of dollars, maybe more, in revenue that could offset some of the increased costs of Interlakes. So I don't know if it's appropriate for a motion to amend that one inbound to a higher number, or for the board to consider that.
At this point, it would be the board. It's up to the board to make any changes. We aren't taking outside input for that. I mean, we'll listen to people, but it's up to somebody on the board if they wanted to change that. I would tell you that this year that there's a lot of litigation surrounding this topic, and we are doing this more as a defensive maneuver for this year because there are some changes seemingly on the horizon. That was our thinking. So, Rick?
Rick DeMark, Jason. Is there intended to be a question mark at the end of this article?
Yes, because it's a question.
Okay.
Shall be
All right,
interlaced.
thank you. I'm sorry.
All right, so we've got a motion and a second. We're gonna vote. All those.
Sorry, one
Oh,
last
go ahead, Ed.
comment to Mr. Harris's point. Is there anything that prevents us from changing this next year as we go around?
You could,
I believe
you
the
could
answer is
amend
no.
it next year.
So my comment would be maneuver until the terrain surrounding this issue kind of settles and becomes a little bit more known, and then we can revisit the issue on an annual basis.
Yes, sir. Okay, we're gonna vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
So 6-0.
6-0. All right, this is another petition warrant article.
First one.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is the first one, which we cannot change anything in. The only way this could be changed is on the floor of the annual meeting. Article 8, by petition to see if the district would raise and appropriate $727,250 to provide food service, including breakfast and lunch, at no cost to all students, and to direct the school board to include funding for such in subsequent budgets.
Moved as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved in second. Yes, Duncan.
I'd like to briefly speak to this warrant, this petition warrant. I appreciate that we don't have a role in changing this, but as a school board member, I have grave concerns about this. Food insecurity is an important issue, and I think it is one that we owe the community our attention to and addressing. But this response to that terrible problem in our community, gives me great pause. To provide food every day for all the children of our district to address the problem that some members of our community face, the challenge of food insecurity, just seems inappropriate. We can't afford to do this, and I can't support it. I think if we move forward with this number with all students, this is a path to a budget crisis.
Yep. Ed?
I would echo Duncan's sentiments and further, I have concerns about directing the school board to include funding in subsequent budgets, because I believe it ties the hands, the decision-making space that the board has at its disposal if we do that.
My understanding is that you can't bind future warrants at all, that's just a sentiment. I think realistically, it would bind us. We could come back from that easily, or future iterations of this body.
So whether as a note of law or of effect, it has the
Yeah,
same.
it was precisely, and that's a big concern that I have for it, even though I think you can't, the following year's meeting has to respond to the budget that it votes for. So.
Jim?
Yeah, I would just echo what Duncan had mentioned. And I have personally spoken to folks in our community, and they, I think, have felt the same way. So I just want folks to make sure that they totally understand this as it moves forward and what we're doing today to already combat this. And I'm not in support of this article because I think that as a parent who has kids in school and understands it, there's more. I just want to make sure everybody understands what's being presented, as Duncan was saying, and the fact that today kids in our school that need food do not have to worry about getting that food, and they do not go hungry. So,
Thank you.
Yep.
Nancy and Siobhan.
Yeah, I will say because I have a deep concern about this issue. And I wish that schools could go back to a couple of years ago, what, the federal government was covering this, and all schools gave meals to kids. It makes a huge difference in education of children if they're well fed. That said, I think there are other ways to respond to this that could cover the most vulnerable students in our population without providing meals to everyone. Maybe that will be an amendment that comes from the floor or something. I have read a lot of research. There is a group of families that are just above the free and reduced lunch income limits, who still have a great deal of trouble covering food costs and housing costs and everything else. And there are districts that have found ways to cover that increased percentage, but that's not what this Warren article says. So.
Well said.
Siobhan?
I want to speak to it as a and break it down in terms of what it actually means. Cost per household, and that although the large number seems very large, I think it is important to raise that if it were to occur at this rate, it would be about $12 or $13 per $100,000 of valuation, which is not a lot. And when I think about that, in terms of that, I pay $1,000 a school year for my one child to eat lunch. And to think of having a community that would show it values children being free to have access to food really excites me. Although on a practical level, I don't support it at the way that it's written. But I grew up with quite a lot of food insecurity, and I think that growing up with that food insecurity in the 90s versus knowing what it's like now to provide for housing, to think of like all households taking on that little bit of burden when there is a rotating cycling of children and families who may be invisible. It could be people who are well off but going through divorce and paying for legal fees, and we don't have access to assistance. So I kind of feel a little nervous about saying like most in need, or like that very, very bottom, because it is quite I think a much larger range of individuals. So again, understanding that there are like recommendations, that there's weight to that, even if it is misunderstanding. I'm going to vote in the positive because as a symbolic gesture to say like, I want to hear more about like what are some practical solutions and where can we actually settle on something. Because I do think it is something we should look at as a community.
Right. Anything else from board members? We're going to vote then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
1, 2, Jim? All those opposed? Jim, what are you?
Sorry, I think I got some lag. I'm in favor of bringing the article forward to the community to vote for. So
We have to do that, Jim.
Yeah, it's going as is,
Yeah.
regardless. You support it or no?
I'm not in support of it, so that'd be nay. Yep. Sorry.
2 to 4.
2 to 4. Okay. Thank you all very much. And then warrant Article 9,
You don't have to vote on it.
right, we don't vote on that one because there's no appropriation. And that school boards only vote when there's money, according to our attorney.
Charlie,
Jim?
Jim Mikeland from Sandwich, among other things, I'm the school district moderator. I have a concern about how this article is worded.
Which
And I
one?
realize, number 9, and I realize it's a petition article, that you circumscribed as to what you can do with a petition article. But if I read this correctly, only the voters from the town of Meredith
Yeah.
are entitled to vote on this article.
I would say, putting on my moderator hat, Jim, that's up to the person who brought this forward. It's
I
not a
understand.
simple, just adding an S or something like that. That's more substantive, I
Oh, no,
guess.
no, I realize that you can't change unless it's a very minor change, a petition article. I'm just bringing it to your attention is that the way that this is worded, it would only apply to the voters in there.
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
What would be the mechanics, Mr. Moderator, of how you would determine that in the district meeting?
At the district meeting, somebody, as an example, might stand up and say, I'd like to amend Article 9 to say, therefore, the voters of the Interlakes School District are asked, and then in the last sentence, might say that all members of the general court representing the towns that belong to the Interlake School District be notified within 30 days.
Thank you for that insight.
Go ahead, Rick.
Rick DeMarco Meredith, as one of the people that brought this petition warrant article, we submitted these to the Board of Selectmen in Meredith. This particular one, because of the way it was worded,
It looks like it was cut.
was transferred to the school district. So I apologize for the wording, because it does need to be changed. So I hope that on the floor I can propose that change.
I would suggest per moderator Mikeland, you talk to him, and I'm guessing he would probably recognize you pretty quickly, that you would have an amendment to adjust your article.
I just want everybody to be aware of it.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. And then Article 10 is,
Or you don't even have to really vote on that if you don't want to. It's typically on your
all
warrant.
good. That's the end. Then we're gonna jump to minutes unless anybody has any any board members have any last minute comments on the warrant articles. Hearing none, we'll go to the minutes, January 13th.
Page 21.
I move to accept the minutes as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Ed. Move in a second. Any discussion? Nancy?
Yeah, I found a typo
Great.
on page 27. Under other, fourth line down. She learned that Hannaford does not offer this option to individually. I think
Oh, yeah.
two should not be there.
Thank you, Nancy. That's great. Anything else? Hearing none. All those in favor of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
As corrected. Thank you. January 20th, 26 minutes.
Start on page 30.
Start on page 30. Thank you, Mary.
I'll move this.
Moved by Duncan, seconded by Ed. Any questions or comments on these minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. And then, what do we have? If something didn't become available,
Year-to-date before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
We do
Ms.
have-
Dolph, you want to talk about
Joe, you want to do the
Yes, page 35.
Manifest 3015, and I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Questions for Ms. Dolph? Hearing, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve. Thank you, Nancy.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other comments or questions for Ms. Dolph? Any way you can anchor little windows up there? Jim keeps hopping around.
I can. I have us pinned so that you can see that. We could pin Mr. Locke instead.
Ed, go ahead.
Ashley, for check number 115944, tuition to Merrimack Valley, is that a out of placement or is that something else?
Out of district.
That's an out of district placement, excuse me.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enrollment report.
Page 37, and we are at 898 students.
Staffing update.
You have the staffing update, no major changes since last month.
Any questions about students or staff? Okay. Old business, so we have the administrator benefits overview, which we need to vote on in public session. So we discussed this in non-public. Entertain a motion to approve.
So
Thank you, Nancy.
Second it.
Thank you, Siobhan. Any last minute comments or thoughts? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that was unanimous, right?
Yes. And then we have some donations, a lot of them. From Interlakes PTO in the amount of $1,500 to be applied solely to the Student Activities Alpine Ski Team and used specifically for, should that say Alpine activities? From White Sylvania Trust, an annual donation in the amount of $2,000 to the Sandwich Central School used to offset the costs associated with field experiences, activities, and celebrations. From Heart and Hands Thrift Shop in the amount of $500 to be used for the Nordic ski team. Don't forget to remind at the end about the Nordic Championship. From the Lakes Region Design Group in the amount of $1,000 to be used for the trip to Spain. From, is that pronounced Nair? Right, Nair. Projects LLC in the amount of $668.11 to be applied solely to the Student Activities After Prom Party. And I think that's all for this one.
To accept those as presented.
With gratitude. Great, thank you. Is there a second? Seconded, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Next up, we have specifically donations to the Lighted Up Lakers issue. Van Horn Estate got 2 banners in the amount of $2,000. Life Medi Spa got 2 banners in the amount of $2,000. Arts Turkey Farm got a banner in the amount of $1,500. McDonald's December Give Back Night raised $528. GoFundMe in the amount of $820, which was made up of Elaine Fabian in the amount of $250, Carrie Hallett in the amount of $300, William Gilman in the amount of $20, Caroline Hughes in the amount of $50, Lawrence Elbrock in the amount of $100, and Roland Jutras in the amount of $100. Total, just FYI, total donations to date, $139.20. Total banner applications, 36,000. Total pledges, 31,500, which is 15,000 from Quimby Trust and 16,500 and Root. So total in all is 198,420.
Motion to accept with gratitude.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. We have no other business. Are there any other board members that have business this evening?
I was gonna ask if we could go back into non-public. There's something I forgot to ask before.
All right, we'll finish up first, Siobhan, then we will. Regarding an individual?
No, I just don't know if it's supposed to be done in public or not.
Okay.
It's about directing Mary to have a conversation.
Oh, regarding a deal. Okay, I understand. I have no other business, but I am now taking last call for public comment. Yes, ma'am.
Deborah Walker in Meredith.
Thank you.
I would like to suggest that the superintendent track of the number of children using vouchers. I'd like to see it by year, by town, high school, middle school, and elementary school, so we can start tracking it. I know that it's not a super big number right now, but it's important to track this because it's such a big issue.
Are you talking about the education freedom account vouchers?
Yeah, vouchers.
So we do put it right now on our enrollment report. We started doing that, I think it was last month.
Okay, I apologize.
No, I just want to share with you, I can find the report, what it is.
Page 39.
Page what was it?
39.
39, thank you. 39. It's 37.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, here we go. 37. There we go. So Meredith has 16 students, so I don't have it broken down by grade. Sandwich has 13 and Center Harbor has 3, so for a total of 32. So that was December, and we won't get another update, I think, until March.
And wasn't the one last year too?
Um,
It just says,
Yeah.
so on your website, we have kind of a thing over time. Because
Yeah.
I'd be interested whether it really expanded, because now it is universal to all income groups. It was not last year.
So we can go back and see, we can pull from last year.
Thank you. That would be great to put it on the website.
Mr. Parsons, do we have anybody online?
Yep, Mr. Sandemersky had a comment that he was
Yep.
holding to the end.
Mr. Sandemersky, thank you for your patience.
I want to repeat the comment made by a prior speaker of appreciation for the level of detail and amount of energy the board spends on all of the very challenging questions put before it. I also, as you know, I've been involved in the Light It Up campaign. I'm a taxpayer in Meredith, but relatively new to the picture. I just want to make an observation that it feels to me, and I've appreciated your ability to attract donations for specific activities. They seem rather targeted. They seem often to come from people with a direct interest. I believe you have had with your Light It Up campaign a broad-based public support of a surprising amount over a surprising period of time. I think you should consider, together with your operating budget, which is an annual commitment that you are unlikely to be able to roll down, the significance of a one-time only assessment on the public to support private investment or private gifts and create a public-private joint effort that gets something done of lasting value that enhances a physical asset you've heavily invested in the past with the field, with your entire athletic program. I think you're missing an opportunity here. I'm speaking to only 3 people who are going to vote on March 4. I understand. But I think of all the work you do, when you next see from the private sector, from a range of age of people, without a direct interest in participating in the program, this kind of fundraising, I think you should pause and consider embracing it more closely than you've done so far. Thank you for giving me a couple of moments.
You're welcome. Rick.
Rick DeMark from Meredith. I'd like to leave for the board and any member of the public this flyer about a public forum on the crisis that I believe we are in funding public education happening at Laconia High School on February 19th at 6 p.m. Great panel discussion and moderated by former Attorney General Philip McLaughlin.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other comments? Hearing none.
Not really comment, but just kind of a question. What are the enrollment numbers for high school, middle school, and elementary school?
You know, I can give you a copy of the enrollment report, which has it all broken down.
Is that okay?
That's fine, yeah.
Good, then I don't have to look at these tiny little numbers.
But they're in the packet you would have gotten.
Yeah.
Page 37.
They're not in there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. All right, so no more online? Good. No more here? Good. Thank you all. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Ed. Second? Thank you, Nancy. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Jim, thank you very much. Sorry for the trouble early on.
No worries.
Anybody wants-
No.
Connection.
Oh, yeah,
Like to sign
Jim,
up
don't
for
go
the
yet.
connection.
I'm, folks, I'm not ending the meeting yet because I have to go in the Donna
So much
And just a call. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Siobhan, that was regarding a contract. Is that what your question was about?
No, it's about connecting with representatives, asking Mary. Huh?
Yeah, that's public.
It is, okay.
So folks, we're still in public session, just as a reminder, we've determined that the question is not out public. So Siobhan, go ahead and ask the question.
I would like the board to consider directing.
Sorry, Chris.
Barry to have authorization to connect with our state representatives in order to share perspective and, information regarding the open enrollment issue. It's come to my understanding that he has not had that kind of contact, and I think it's important, especially since she's very math brained, and I do know that somebody like Timlin or whatever is also very math brained. It might be helpful to give some information to round out what is otherwise a thought experiment. So that's something I would like to consider.
In favor of authorizing Mary to have conversations with elected representatives broadly, so I think that sounds fine.
I'm okay with providing information and data. It's not a slight review, but I think that the communication itself is a function of the board and not of the superintendent. I might be parsing that a little bit, but
I think our intention when we invited the legislators, remember in the beginning that somebody like that would come and we would have like some kind of conversation, but since they didn't necessarily come outside of our selectmen, that this is a more direct way to have information, but just data level.
that's
Maybe
data,
it would-
I'm okay with data.
And maybe it would encourage them to come to us if we wanted to.
Isn't there a vote soon?
There may be one.
Statewide open
Exactly, that's
enrollment,
why
and it's like
Yeah.
the 19th, I think,
Right.
or the 18th or 19th, so the time is very limited. I know the reps, folks, so we've got two at least different sets of votes, right? I don't know if Center Harbor and Meredith are together in the district, are you?
No.
So we've got
Center
three
Harbor.
different sets of reps. I don't think you need to call. But I don't know if, so what would you think the message that Mary would be delivering would be?
I don't know if I feel comfortable with the word message, but I think like potential impact or perceived like impact that has drawn like some concern around how it's written, how the wording of the bills are written.
And this is specific to open enrollment.
Correct.
So funding, potential impacts.
Right.
The unknown
Correct.
financial impact.
Yes.
yeah, there's already struggles. Right.
Jim has a comment for that.
Jim, go ahead.
Oh, no, there was just a lot of background noise, so I just wanted to make sure I heard like what Siobhan was saying, and that was to allow Mary to kind of like speak on behalf of the board or with, you know, based or just speak to our state representatives related to open enrollment, right?
Specifically with data.
Yeah, about the school district.
Information, not opinions or just
Okay.
this is what the impact could be to us based on the information we have.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm fine with that. And I feel like as a board member, I would say I personally reached out to some of our state representatives just based on my own feedback as an individual, which I think we can all do. But I'm fine with what Siobhan presented. I just wanted to make sure I heard everybody right. I couldn't hear with all the people leaving. So
I appreciate Ed's concerns that in a very time compressed, process. I don't know how you could articulate the board's concerns since we haven't had an opportunity to formulate those concerns. Broadly, I'm fine with you describing the situation as you see it. I respect your perspective enormously in this, so I don't have a problem with that. I think unfortunately this process to address open enrollment is compressed and dysfunctional. And I don't know how we would communicate our feelings about it. I have concerns about it personally, but I don't think any of us can formulate a position of the board on such short notice.
Go ahead, Ed.
To Siobhan's point about the mathematics, I would be okay. Hey, here is a case. If 10 students from Interlake School District, by way of open enrollment, not by way of any of the other processes previously described, went to Laconia School District, went to, I don't pick something. Good choice. Pick one, right? And Laconia sent us a bill for, we know what our cost per student is, so 80% of the cost per student is a readily determinable number. Like sending a case study, I'd be okay with that. I'm less okay with this is the message of this is what the board feels about. You know what I'm saying? In the math problem.
Yeah, but that's a great example because let's say Laconia's cost per pupil is considerably less than Interlake's, right? They get 80% of the Interlake's cost per pupil. So like the member of the public was speaking, that could be a real benefit to them, right? In terms of their income, because 80% of our cost per pupil could be the same as their cost, right? If 10 students from Laconia wanted to transfer into Interlakes, we would get 80% of the Interlakes cost per pupil, of the Laconia cost per pupil, which could be considerably less than our actual cost per pupil. Now, in his example, he said, it's not going to change the number of teachers you need or the number of courses you get, but it's also our taxpayers are paying for students to go to Laconia. Mm-hmm. Their taxpayers are paying for students to come here. I mean, it's a dumpster fire waiting to happen. It is. So
And that was
that kind of message
when I reached out
to say, the Interlake School Board is concerned about this. There are ways.
Not concerned. I think we have to be careful. Like, we'd like to share this
Share
information.
this
as
could be
helpful.
an impact. Right?
Would it be helpful? I know it's a compressed timeline, but if I kind of drew up a few case studies and invited the reps to come back again. I mean, I know it's a difficult time of year.
Forget it.
That won't happen, but you
could present
put
them
together a couple case studies and say, on behalf of the board, I've been asked to share with you, and you could do it in an email, Mary.
So
And I would be comfortable. You've heard our concerns, and I don't have any expectation that you would not honor those concerns. I am comfortable with you writing an email that expresses a case that you can imagine and that you can think through and present that without claiming any more than
So
that this
sticking
board is
really with
doing.
a case study and the unknown financial impact is really, it requires at least further study.
And sorry for the.
No, not at all.
No, but I mean,
Good
this
with
is,
that, Mary?
Yep, I think I have enough to be clear.
The only thing that I would like to add, Mary, if you could share that
Of
with
course.
us,
Yes.
and then we can turn around and share that with
Yes, yeah.
the reps, not just
I
the
will
Senate.
share a draft with the board. Don't respond to everybody. I'll do it as BCC. If there's any concerns with the draft, respond to me and I can then address that in the draft. Great. Thank you so much.
All good?
Yeah.
All right, now
May I make one announcement?
you may only make one.
So Nordic Ski
Oh, great.
is on Monday. Today's schedule.
The championships on the weekend?
No, it's a Monday.
It's
It's
President's Day.
February 16th. It's at the Sandwich Fairgrounds. And it looks like it goes, there are different race times. Race day. Let's see, Nordic
Starts at 10.
individual races begin at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Relay races at 1:15 and 1:30 and 1:45. Awards at 2:45. And I think we sent that out by email to everybody. Yep.
And they still need macaroni and cheese and soup if anybody wants to cook.
Is that a box of Kraft macaroni?
No, it's a crock pot of macaroni and cheese.
Great.
Or soup.
Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
seconded, all those in favor say aye. Adjourned at 7:29.